Who do you go to as your financial guru? Me personally, I look out for Dave Ramsey and anything that comes out. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at 12 fantastic things to do with your money according to Dave Ramsey. Now, of course, he is a financial guru. If you're unfamiliar with his baby steps, his teaching method, he really breaks it down very basic style. I love when he talks about beans and rice. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, the first one is getting on a budget. Now, of course, for a lot of people, this could mean a lot of different things. It's a budget, it's a spending plan. The first step to financial freedom, in my opinion, just like this, getting on budget, but knowing what money you have, taking the accountability to know exactly what is coming in, where your expenses are going, and what you have, if you have anything left at the end of the month, makes a big difference. Now, regardless of how you do this, you have to do it. Regardless of what form it is, it has to be done just for that accountability piece. If you're using, pen and paper, if you're using an app, regardless of what it is, budgeting is really the first financial step. And me being a financial counselor, it is actually the first step that we go through as well, is coming up with the budget and seeing exactly where people are at, kind of a starting stage. Now, number two, budgeting for inflation. This is another one when you start looking at Dave Ramsey's financial playbook. Inflation, or the rate that essentially the pricing of goods and services within the United States are rising. People do not budget for this. When you start looking at getting a raise, let's say you get 2%, 3%, when we're running inflation at 8%, you're gonna have to budget for it. Not only the tax factor that you see, but also the cost of living expenses that are going to exponentially go up. When you look at the grocery carts, when you look at social media, and they say this is what, $100 in groceries was 5 years ago, this is what it is today. That is because of inflation, and that is why the Fed is so diligently really worrying and focusing on fighting inflation. Number three, stop keeping up with the Joneses. This is keeping up with the Joneses. This is lifestyle creep. It is very easy to look at other individuals around you, looking at if they're buying new cars, if they're buying a bigger house, if they're upgrading, adding swimming pools. A lot of people really feel the need to go on lavish vacations, the need to match their neighbors. And this, of course, can be very expensive because you don't know financially where they are. They could be the ones that are literally just borrowing money and they're, head over heels in debt, that they're drowning. You don't know the full picture. If you see it on social media, if you look at Facebook, Instagram, you're only seeing the highlight reels of what people are offering. You don't know exactly what's going on financially. Are they, in a sound position to do what they are doing, to buy a new vehicle, to have the ability to go on these vacations? Are they utilizing credit card debt for it? Are they taking money out of 401ks? Are they saving for retirement? Everybody's financial picture is very, very different. That is the point where you need to hone in and you need to tune in to what you need and really what is going to build assets. Now, for me personally, that's exactly what I've done, is looking at really things that are going to build generational wealth, things that are going to build assets in my life, or things that have utility that can give me the ability to do that exact same and continue growing it. Now, number four, and we couldn't go through anything with Dave Ramsey, paying off that high interest debt before you invest. Now, this is a point where I see it a little bit different. So my thought behind this one, and I know this is one of the baby steps, is when we start looking at high interest debt and when we start looking at the compounding effect of money, is me personally, I would do a company match, and then of course everything 100% like fire put into that debt. But if you're missing out on that company, the company match, the 401k match that employers offer, the big thing is paying off debt can be a lot different for different people. So if you're going through and you're eliminating debt and you're paying it off debt, let's say it takes you 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, that is a really, really big runway that you're not making any contributions. I know the debt is expensive and I know the ability to pay off debt will give you more money to invest. But honestly, I would do my 401k match and then start paying off and putting everything towards debt. Once the debt is gone, you can update and really increase your contributions to make a big difference in those 401k plans. Because of course, if you're not investing anything, for a lot of individuals, when you look at Americans that are not saving for retirement, is what happens is they continually pay off debt. Well, as they're paying off debt, they're accumulating new debt. So then when you think big picture, there is never a point they're putting money into those retirement accounts because they have spent a lifetime, 40 years, paying off debt and never actually getting that debt cycle completed. Number five, utilizing money saving technology. Now, of course, with technology, it comes with a lot of time, but when it comes to technology, it is game changer. When you think of things like, the Financial Savvy app, when you think about what Dave Ramsey offers, through all of their services. When you start looking at, he has the Every Dollar app, but when you start thinking of Rocket Money, it can track your income, it can track your expenses, it can even break it into all different buckets. There are so many things that technology can do just integrated with your bank accounts that do make a big difference, and also kind of keep track of where you're at and what you're doing. Number 6, putting what you know into work. This is another one. When you think about leveraging your skills, and a lot of people, roughly 54% of Americans, are working a side hustle, looking at what you can do and what you know how to do, leveraging your skills, whether it is, unique talents, whether it is, opportunities with coaching. What can you monetize? Where can you save money? Not only one, doing things yourself, kind of in a DIY capacity, but also looking at a lot of other things. Where can you save money learning to do things yourself? Where, hey, if you take an inventory of your skills and your abilities, where can you tap into your knowledge base that is kind of unique to you? Me personally, it is YouTube. I love doing it with the financial education and literacy. So if you like the content that I'm putting out, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. And let's get into number 7. Never go grocery shopping without a plan. This is another one which is huge. If you go to grocery shopping, impulse purchases and impulse buying, that is the reason why they also say that if you go to a grocery store and you are hungry, you are going to spend a lot more money. Every time I go to the grocery store, I have a list of items that I'm specifically going to buy. I'm not browsing, I'm not just shopping. I go and I pick up those items because impulse purchasing can be $2,000 to $3,000 a year based on what you need. And of course, you could take this really a step further in doing weekly meal preps or meal plans. That way you're not overspending at the grocery store, especially today, because groceries are so expensive. When you start thinking of things that are, 2x, 3x, 4x, some of the stuff in grocery stores without even realizing it, if it's a couple dollars here and there, it could account to $15, $20, $30 extra just buying items that you need, or some even purchasing items that you don't need. Number 8, not knowing what to do or working with a professional. Now, this is very important. I have said this. When it comes to your finances, if you are not going to take the time and effort to really go through and understand them, seek professional advice. This comes from the financial counseling piece in me. It also comes from, if you're looking at a financial advisor, if you're looking at investing, if you're not willing to put in the time and the work to do it yourself, to understand it, that is the time where it is going to cost you money versus time to actually get it done. Now, of course, there are a few things that I consider and I do leave off my plate. So when it comes to taxes myself, I have an accountant that does it. I have somebody who is going to do it on a regular basis, and I am more than happy to pay him. I don't want to learn the tax code. I don't want to go through TurboTax. I want a person that I can talk to if anything should happen. That is where I'm willing to pay an expert for his guidance. And of course, when it comes to financial advisors, if you're not looking to do investing yourself, it is a perfect way to get into investing and having a person that you trust. Now, of course, when it comes to financial advisors, it is an interview process. You have to make sure that your goals and what you're looking for in life is really aligned to that individual, because if it's not, sometimes down the road, you're going to have a disagreement and it's not going to come out pretty. Now, looking at number 9, building an emergency fund before building your wealth. This is another huge one. So we went through the step of eliminating the debt. Step 9, building that emergency fund, is really the step to keep you from getting those unexpected expenses and really accumulating that debt again. When you start looking at car repairs, medical bills, job loss, it is very important to have this emergency fund in place because, of course, this is going to be your fallback if anything should happen unexpectedly. Now, of course, there has to be a justification for the emergency fund, and you have to know that it is for an emergency and it is only for an emergency. This is not a savings account to dip in when you're short of funds because you didn't budget properly, or that you need money to go out, or you want to buy tickets. Or think of what a true emergency is. A true emergency is something that is going to stop you from really moving forward with life. It's not something that is more of a want, but is an absolute dire need that the emergency fund comes in. Looking at number 10, give 15% of your paycheck to your future self. Now, I know 15% seems like a really, really big, and this is actually a conversation I had yesterday, but it seems like a big percentage to put away. But if you're setting aside that 15% and putting that 15% really to secure a better future for yourself, that 15% is going to grow exponentially during your working years, meaning when you're ready for retirement, you could have $3 to $5 million in an account ready and set for retirement. Doesn't seem, and it can seem like a lot at first, but overall, when you go through raises, when you go through job changes, when you go through advancement, getting a higher paid job, getting a promotion, always keeping it to that 15% is going to have your commitment to retirement for your entire life. The number 11, don't wait on student loan forgiveness. This is another one that I see from a lot of individuals. They say that, Biden is going to eliminate my student loans. That is the reason I don't want to pay them off. However, a lot of people have been spending a multitude of years waiting for the student loan forgiveness, and unfortunately, it has never come. And of course, delaying the student loan payments with the interest rate that they're running is very, very expensive. Now, of course, debt elimination is the primary concept here, because when you think of debt elimination, if you're eliminating a majority of your debt, that gives you and really frees up income to spend on investing, to spend on anything you want. If you want to go on vacation, you can accumulate the money and really save the money versus borrowing the money and then spending the next 3 to 5 years paying for the vacation that you took. It's kind of counterintuitive. Now, of course, you could look at refinances, you could look at consolidations, you could look at anything that is really going to lower that interest rate and save you money in the long time, making it a big difference. And the final one we look at is harnessing the power of the snowball method. Now, of course, snowball method is a very, very popular debt repayment way and also wealth building. When you think of the snowball method, so the first side of it, when you think of debt paying off, really the repayment of debt is taking the snowball method, listing it from your absolute lowest balance to your highest balance. That lowest balance is going to be the one that is paid off first. And as you continue to pay off the first balance, that essentially payment goes into the second one, third one, fourth one, so on and so forth until your debt is eliminated. But a lot of people don't understand that the snowball method also works when it comes to investing. So again, thinking of the flip side of it, if you're putting money regularly into a investment account, when you start getting to that $100,000 mark and you start seeing a lot of dividends that are coming in, you're seeing a lot of growth, that snowball is going to be literally launched down a hill and growing bigger and bigger and bigger, not only from the compounding aspect that you're getting of the snowball as it builds with wealth generation, but also as you're including those contributions in there, again, making a big difference when it comes to building out that snowball and really accumulating wealth and generational wealth for your family. So guys, that is 12 fantastic things to do with your money according to Dave Ramsey. Absolutely love the advice that he gets, and I'll catch you in the next video.